Now, I've seen quite a lot of reviews where they say the Rocket X2 is the best Hoka shoe. Now, it's a bit of a low bar for me. This is the fourth one I've had, and this is the first one I've actually felt like I'm actually going to enjoy it. If you thought a company was trying to copy a Vaporfly, they would do a pretty good job. Lovely evening, okay, welcome to Charlwood. We're very near Gatwick Airport, so there's an EasyJet plane going overhead. But I come in today to not only look at the cricket, but also try out the Rocket X2s that I've had in now. I've done 2 runs in these, done about 20 miles in them. So yeah, now time to take them out for a session. They've been very good from sort of like steady runs, about 7 to 30 pace. So today I've got 18 by 400s with a minute rest. I'm quite sure why Matt's at 18. That seems a very large number of 400 meter reps, doesn't it? But anyway, a good chance to test them out. So a brief look at the shoes on foot. Very similar in a way to the Vaporfly one, with sort of this meshy upper here. You can see my socks through them very nicely. So they sort of look a nicely breathable material, I would say. Nice and narrow for me, I would say. Got them tied up fairly tightly, but got nice and snug there across the midfoot. This sort of pseudo vapor weave material, whatever Hoka call it, is very good to get a good lockdown, I find. And I'm finding that although they're only 5mm drop, I'm not really finding them too bad. I'm normally not really keen on 5mm drops. Now, I've seen quite a lot of reviews where they say the Rocket X2 is the best Hoka shoe. Now, it's a bit of a low bar for me. This is the fourth one I've had, and this is the first one I've actually felt like I'm actually going to enjoy it. The first 3 I probably did about 50 miles between them. The original Carbon X, the Rincon, the original one, and the Rocket X, the one before this. So the best Hoka shoe for me isn't exactly saying much, but so far on these 2 runs that I've done, I've actually quite enjoyed them. I'm actually pleasantly surprised. Perhaps the shoe in a way that reminds me of most of the Vaporfly without actually being a Vaporfly, which is probably high praise for me because that's the shoe I like the most. So we'll see how we go in this session and report back on the way. Okay, first of all, we're done. We're going into the sticks a bit. I must say initially, they do feel slightly more squidgy than the Vaporfly. Maybe that lower drop just feels, they get quite the same propulsion, but that one was slightly uphill. It was at 128, so that's not bad. We'll head back to Charlwood now and see what, there's another 17 to go, which sounds a bit daunting, doesn't it? But at least I've got like a nice little walk recovery here, so I'll maybe talk after every other ones to get the full recovery that I need. Okay, 4 down. Now it's starting to rain again, so at least I'm not going to overheat, am I? Yeah, I sort of stand by I said. They kind of feel nice, but just maybe just a bit too squishy on the forefront, and maybe just slightly heavier than the Vaporfly. I feel like I'm having to do just that little bit more work. Not quite as responsive, but pretty close. I mean, if you thought a company was trying to copy a Vaporfly, they would do a pretty good job. But the thing is that they've actually made it, like, for me, 30 grams heavier. So, you know, why would you really choose this over a Vaporfly? Unless you really just love Hoka shoes, which I know some people do, but yeah, I mean, I prefer to wear the shoe that I think I'm going fastest in, to be honest. Right, off again. Okay, 8 done. It's sort of stopped raining. Still got 10 to go. It seems an awful lot. Because I still get these under 130, so although they don't feel absolutely A1, and I think I did find in my longer runs, I did about a 10 mile run on the other day, that towards the end I could start feeling the plate through the toes a bit at the front, which I sort of can now just walking along, although it's not really a problem walking. Right, now we're going to go up this lane here, Rectory Lane, which starts off flat and then goes up Hilly, so getting a few Hilly reps as well. Okay, 10 down. Last 2 were uphill, and now it's going to get really steep on this bit on a road called Rust Hill, just past the Wimble. Actually, we'll take a look at that on the way back. So I think the speed has just dropped below 130 because of the hills, but still feeling okay. The grip on these slightly wet roads is not too bad. It's kind of fine for belting along in a straight line, which is kind of the purpose of a road racing shoe, isn't it, really? So I don't get too worried about outsoles. If you do a race with lots of turns, just take them more carefully. Right, on to the next one. This really does look uphill, and you can see that. Oh, perhaps I should have cut some off of that. That was a 153 going uphill. Yeah, not too bad uphill. Obviously the lightest shoe possible uphill. I'm just feeling the plate through the toes a bit. Not too bad. As I said, just feel maybe just need to do them slightly tighter. Lockdown's pretty good, but just feel like I'm losing a bit downwards rather than popping up. But it's the same sort of nice Peeper foam as in the Vaporflies. I think just slightly softer, I think the outsole's slightly softer. Not much rubber on it. All right, coming to a hotel. I think it's another uphill one, and get to a junction. I think we can coast back. That's 11 anyway. Right, on the next one. On 37, bit of a full flat on that one. I was interested in these doors that don't seem to serve any purpose. I think this is some hotel. Doesn't look very salubrious, I must say. Right, I think we've got one more rep to the junction, and then hopefully we can make the most of these coming back down. 6 more to do altogether, I think. Let's hold the camera on this one. We've got slightly a little uphill bit to a junction, so I'll probably run onto it and then turn back. At least we'll get a fly down, and we have a very steep one back up again. But the old arms doesn't like carrying these sort of GoPros. I don't know how Kavuti does it. I heard he sort of carries it all the way as well. I've put mine in my pocket, only on a shorty stick. Right, let's get on with this rep then. I actually came down here the other night in the run at the Adios 8. I was doing the 5-minute reps, so connecting up 2 parts of Mole Valley. That's good. Yeah, these shoes are okay. I mean, it's a nice pickup. I don't think that would be my shoe of choice for a race, though. That's the only thing. I got it for 15% discount if you join up to the Hoka newsletter. So, although I bought a shoe from Hoka before, I managed to get a code. It's £195. Right, next rep. Oh, ends in sight. 3 more. That was a 126. It was mainly downhill, so that helps when you tie legs. I was a bit worried about my left thigh before this session. I had a physio on Thursday, and my kids have been a bit sore, but it's okay. I did a little bit of a walk before I started the session just to get a bit of loosening in the legs. Right, now I've got a totally uphill one, so see if I can make it a bit faster than the one that previous that was totally uphill. Back up to the hotel, I think. Okay, so all done. Just use these little Ross Hill cottages here as a bit of an emergency exit for the end of my run, with a straight downhill. I think it was like the fastest. I did a 122 before it. I think that might have been about a 120. So right, now onto the warm down. It's actually now stopped raining. It was actually belting it down. So the old Nike top here, a bit soaked, but yeah, I don't think I really need a sore one. Do just as well. I think if you're a Trucksmith guy, I saw an advert where they actually take them off, so I'm not quite sure what that's advertising. Advertising the fact that your shirt's so good that you need to take it off when it gets hot. Marvellous. This is the Lowfield Heath windmill. Amazing what you find in someone's back garden. 2 old fighter jets here. Some people have old telephone boxes. This is a bit upmarket, I would say. So just jogging back now to where I parked the car. So yeah, the final verdict for today on the Rocket X2. This is more of a sort of first look, really. Come take me through a session. So yeah, at the moment they don't feel particularly comfortable, but I think that's because I've run 18 hard 400-meter reps. I was meant to be going down to 3k pace at the end, but I think the hills rather took it away. So in the end it was a bit of a solid, even effort, which I think probably meant I started faster than I was intending to and kept up the pace reasonably well. So I think the ones on the flat were all sub 90, which was encouraging. And when I had a little downhill, I was able to crack on. Thigh survived. Can't say that these Rocket X2s are overly comfortable just pootling along, but as I said, I am pretty knackered now. And when I did 2 long runs of them, totaling about 20 miles, then yeah, I was pootling along. Very low heart rate, I thought, about sort of 7:30 pace, went about 120. So I was personally surprised, and maybe there's an element of that today, that those reps were actually quite fast, and maybe there's an element of favouritism with the Vaporflies. I'm not sure that perhaps I would have got any faster. Just felt like it was just slightly lacking. Maybe psychologically in your head there, that the fact that they're 30 grams more, you think, why are you having to cart that extra weight for? Especially with the design of this shoe, it's pretty minimal, I have to say. Maybe I feel the 5mm drop a bit. Maybe that's why they're not so comfortable at this sort of jogging pace. Anyway, I hope you find this interesting. Like and subscribe with that, and see you on the next one then. Bye. And it might stop raining by then as well.